As a generous restorer of disturbed soils, mullein offers refuge, food, and medicine to many creatures. The thick, large leaves provide a cool, protected habitat for small beings like mice or voles. Ants and other insects commonly patrol the flowers. In the fall, woodpeckers are frequently spotted moving up and down the mullein stalks, foraging for the many insects found there. In some ways, mullein becomes its own microcosm of a habitat. Originally native to Europe and Asia, mullein has spread across the globe and is frequently found in disturbed soils. It has been used as medicine for thousands of years. Greek physician Dioscorides was recommending it for coughs more than 2,000 years ago. Every part of mullein has medicinal virtues. The leaves and flowers are used to soften and soothe, while the roots have a more warming and drying energy. The word mullein is related to the French word molle, meaning soft. Gently touching the large, fuzzy leaves, you can understand the inspiration. However, when you strongly rub those leaves, those soft hairs become an irritant or a rubefacient and can be used to bring circulation to an area. Mullein leaves are nourishing and nutritive. They can be taken as a tea to support long-term lung health or used in the short term for more acute situations. Mullein leaf acts as a mild relaxant as well as a demulcent, making an excellent remedy for dry, irritated lungs accompanied by a cough. Herbalists use mullein leaves to support people with asthma or bronchitis, or for those inhaling irritants like pollution or wildfire smoke. It combines well with other demulcent herbs, such as mallow. Mullein's large, hairy leaves can feel like dense wool. That complex web of plant fibers covering the leaves protects the plant from the strong rays of the sun. These same fibers are a bit irritating to human skin, which can be annoying, beneficial, or both. The action of irritating the skin is called rubefacient. This irritation dilates the capillaries, increasing circulation to the area, and has a wide variety of therapeutic applications. Used as a poultice on the chest, mullein leaves can help move stagnancy in the lungs, increasing a healthy thin mucus that can be readily expelled. Scientists may also be finding new ways that mullein can support the lungs. A preliminary study isolated a constituent of mullein, and then it was shown to be effective against a type of lung cancer. I look forward to future studies involving human clinical trials. Mullein root can strengthen the bladder and is used for incontinence caused by stress, pregnancy, or menopause, as well as childhood incontinence. Herbalist Christa Synadinos also recommends mullein root for those with interstitial cystitis and benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH, which is an enlarged prostate. Recently, mullein root has become popularized for back pain. Herbalist Jim McDonald says, prepared either as an infusion or taken in small doses as a tincture, mullein root has been a lifesaver for me when working a bit too gung-ho has made me wake up the next morning with my back kinked and not quite able to straighten up. I usually take about 7 drops of tincture, stretch out a bit, and the kink disappears and I feel perfectly aligned. Mullein's biggest claim to fame is as an earache remedy. This historic use is backed up by the experiences of countless present-day parents and children. Mullein flower-infused oil acts as an anodyne to take away the pain of the earache while also exerting lymphatic action on the area around the ear to help resolve the infection. Mullein flower-infused oil is commonly found in health food stores and apothecaries. Herbalist Michael Moore writes that mullein flower tea has a negative effect on the herpes simplex virus, or HSV1, and seems especially helpful for adults and children who have frequent outbreaks around the mouth triggered by sun, food allergies, or estrogen surges before ovulation. Preliminary in vitro research shows some antiviral qualities against HSV1 as well as influenza. Mullein is a hyperaccumulator of heavy metals. This means it can uptake heavy metals from the earth and store it. This ability has led to some interesting research on using mullein for soil remediation. Researchers in Serbia tested 5 different plants for cleaning up a heavily contaminated site. Their research concluded that because mullein efficiently transported metal pollutants into the above-ground parts, And because it fits well the desired characteristics for its use as a biomass, it is our plant of choice for further bioremediation use at the polluted industrial site. That's pretty amazing. So how to identify mullein? Well, mullein often grows in poor soils and neglected places, popping up early before successive vegetation moves in. In its first year, the plant forms a basal rosette of grayish-green felt-like leaves. Covered in fuzzy hairs, these leaves are oblong or lanceolate, 4 to 12 inches long and 1 to 5 inches wide. The root is a tap root with fibrous secondary roots. In the second year, the plant produces a tall wand-like stalk up to 10 feet tall. This stalk has smaller, alternately arranged leaves that decrease in size towards the top. Sometimes a plant will develop 1 or 2 side stems. Towards the top of the stalk, 5-petaled yellow flowers are arranged on a terminal spike. Only a few flowers bloom at a time, and each is open for just 1 day, closing by mid-afternoon. The fruit is an oval capsule containing many seeds. Here's some ways that mullein is part of the greater ecosystem. Mullein flowers are visited by various insects, including bees, flies, and butterflies. If a flower has not been cross-pollinated by the end of the day, it will actually just self-pollinate. Carter bees gather the hairs from mullein leaves to line their nests, and birds such as downy woodpeckers and goldfinches visit mullein to feast on the seeds as well as insect larvae. How to harvest. Harvest the basal leaves using scissors or a knife, preferably in the autumn of the plant's first year or spring of the second year. Because the dense woolly hairs on mullein leaves can be a bit irritating, you may want to wear gloves when processing a lot of the leaves. Dig the taproot in the autumn of the first year to early spring of the second year before the stalk forms. Handpick the flowers individually as they bloom, early in the day before the flowers close. Mullein reproduces by seeds, which can survive for decades in the soil. Make sure not to harvest all the flowers so the plant can form seeds, which it will drop nearby. There are a couple of lookalikes for mullein, especially the leaves, including foxglove, Digitalis purpurea, which is poisonous, as well as lamb's ear, Stachys byzantina. Mullein is also a hyperaccumulator of heavy metals, as I mentioned, so you want to be certain that the mullein you are harvesting and using comes from healthy soils that aren't contaminated with metals. How to work with mullein. Well, mullein leaves can be dried for use in teas and steams, and because those tiny hairs on mullein leaves can be irritating, you want to strain teas through a coffee filter to avoid ingesting them. Fresh leaves can be used to make a poultice, and whole leaves can be frozen to preserve them for a future poultice. Fresh or dried leaves can be used to make an alcohol extract. Flowers can be dried for use in teas. Fresh flowers or freshly dried flowers can be infused into oil or made into an alcohol extract. Mullein roots can be used fresh or dried as an alcohol extract. They can also be chopped and dried for use in decoctions or powdered for use in capsules. The Botanical Safety Handbook gives mullein its highest safety rating. So this is a plant that can generally be used by anyone. One thing to note, though, is that mullein oil shouldn't be used in ear canals if the eardrum has been perforated. In our book, Wild Remedies, you'll find recipes for mullein and yarrow facial steam and healthy lungs tea. With its tall spires and luscious leaves, mullein reaches out of the landscape as if to say, "I'm here, I'm here." And in so doing, it generously offers up its many gifts, whether it's supporting lung health, strengthening the urinary system, or soothing an earache. Mullein is a welcome friend, not only to humans, but to the soils and creatures that it supports.